Apology accepted, but that was a dirty play. Trevor Lawrence in the middle of the field. The man goes to a slide, and what makes it so egregious is he does this.
Yep.
He leads with the forearm. And we saw the posture.
Targeted the head. Yeah.
That Trevor Lawrence laid on the field with.
Yeah.
This is what they're trying to get away from, Stephen A.
The NFL world is sounding off on Houston Texans linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair and his egregious hit on Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence. And there is no shortage of nuance and debate.
This is the kind of player you want. You want players, some players, linebackers, D linemen who kind of toe that line. It was kind of a late slide or whatever, but you see players have gotten so good at avoiding those hits because you know how protected players, especially quarterbacks, are. And that's a tough spot to be in as a defender for sure. I'm sure we're looking back for him. He probably regrets it because he's going to miss some time now and obviously miss some money. But at the same time, that's kind of football player he is.
Ex-NFL defensive back Darius Butler spoke from the defense's perspective, giving credit to Al-Shaair for his no F's given approach to his game, while recognizing that regardless of whether you think Lawrence slid late or not, that does not excuse him leading with his forearm to make contact with Lawrence's head. Speaking of which,
I'm sick and tired of it. You are not protecting your quarterback when you teach him how to slide when it's not in the open field. Open field, of course, that's great. Absolutely not here. If you want to get a concussion, you slide like this when contacts come.
Ex-NFL head coach Rex Ryan blamed the quarterback sliding for Lawrence's concussion, and there's a legit argument to make against the NFL for failing to implement stricter rules that would actually protect quarterbacks, but Ryan opted for a different route.
They should be taught to dive at the ankles of the defender or run the football and keep your head out of it. Trust me, I would take the ankles of the defender. Run right there, dive at his ankles. Immediately, the guy's going to go to protect himself. He's not worried about tackling you.
Nothing says keeping your head out of it like advocating for quarterbacks to dive headfirst at a defender's ankles instead of sliding, which just opens quarterbacks up to regular ball carrier rules to apply to all offensive players carrying the ball.
We're talking about grown men who are defenders of first variety like Al-Shaair is. I'm sitting here on my couch being able to make these decisions as opposed to split decisions, but it looked awful. He deserved to be ejected. And that's why I need to say here, we're not the ones in the cleats. We're not the ones in the pads. We're not the ones who are, have to work themselves up into such a frenzy to play the game. I mean,
these are split-second plays.
That right there is the most important aspect of this entire conversation. These plays happen so quickly, and defenders have to make such split-second decisions that they're being set up for failure due to the NFL's lack of adequate rules to protect both defenders and quarterbacks. Al-Shaair's hit was obviously way out of line and deserving of an ejection and suspension, which we'll cover shortly, but the NFL is culpable in letting quarterbacks stretch and abuse sliding rules to the point where this is a regular enough occurrence at the college and pro levels. While the official NFL rulebook does shield the league from liability if a runner starts his slide too late and a defender makes unavoidable, non-forceful contact to the runner's head and neck area with their helmet, shoulder, or forearm like that in which we saw in the Al-Shaair hit, we would argue that there should be amendments to this rule to ban runners, especially QBs, from faking slides to reduce the likelihood of defenders feeling the need to make such split-second decisions to make a tackle. The same goes for quarterbacks as well. No fake or simulated slides. Eliminating the potential of a fake slide gives both defenders and QBs another layer of protection that would at least decrease the likelihood of seeing horrific injuries like this happening, which should always be the goal if the NFL wants to exist in the future. Now back to Al-Shaair.
It's a play that nobody wants to see in our league, obviously, because you see what happens, after the fact, and it just escalates. And I've got a lot of respect for Coach Ryans, and I know he doesn't coach his team that way. We don't coach our team that way. And
under fire, Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson said this when asked how his hit stacks up to other dirty hits he's seen, while Texans head coach DeMeco Ryans went a different direction.
Unfortunate hit on the quarterback, but it's twofold, right? A lot of the quarterbacks in this day and age, they try to take advantage of the rule where they slide late and they try to get an extra yard. And Now, you're a defender, a lot of onus is on the defender, right? Whether it's on the sideline or where it's on the quarterback, you don't know what a guy's thinking. You don't know if a guy's staying up and he's continuing to run. You don't know. And then you get a late slide and you hit the guy.
Though Ryans is making a valid point about too much onus being put on defenders, the quarterbacks are not to blame for flaunting the rules. It's the NFL's fault for letting them get away with it and doing nothing to solve the roots of this issue.
If we're sliding, we have to get down. If we're getting out of bounds, we get out of bounds. And that rule is there to protect the quarterbacks. And we want our quarterbacks to be safe in the league. So we just have to be safe. If we're sliding, make sure we're keeping our heads down. So Azeez hits the guy, but their sideline overreacts, and it turns into a melee. It wasn't our guys. It's their team overreacted, pushed our guy, dragging our guy to the sideline. So that's uncalled for on that side. We have to be better on the sidelines as well.
It's also not the best optics to paint your team as the victims of the ensuing brawl when any good teammate would respond to the hit as tight end Evan Ingram and his fellow teammates did. But Ryans is sticking behind his guys, and that's what to expect from an NFL head coach. Al-Shaair was just given a 3-game suspension from the league, citing multiple instances of unnecessary roughness and unsportsmanlike conduct to justify the lengthier than normal duration. And though he would apologize publicly to Trevor Lawrence, he would also call out fans and media members reportedly harassing him with racist and Islamophobic messages. One of them is Australian-born conservative, attention-hungry Twitter troll Nick Adams, who posted this disgusting tweet insinuating that Al-Shaair intentionally targeted Lawrence because he's a Christian and Al-Shaair is Muslim, going so far as to smear Al-Shaair as a supporter of Hamas, the right-wing's favorite tactic to distract from the Israeli government's ethnic cleansing campaign. Just hours later, Adams was at it again, clutching his pearls and calling for a boycott of the NFL for not punishing Al-Shaair for simply highlighting the realities of the barbarity in Palestine, once again smearing him as a terrorism defender. But this next video truly takes the cake.
This wasn't just any hit. It was an assault, plain and simple. Lawrence, an outspoken Christian, an advocate for Israel, was taken out of the game with a concussion thanks to Al-Shaair's dangerous hit. Was Shaair's hit intentional? Given the controversial linebacker's known support for pro-Hamas slogans on his cleats, you start to wonder if there wasn't some sort of political vendetta at play here.
Azeez Al-Shaair's dirty hit has nothing to do with advocating for human rights. It has everything to do with a terrible decision to lead with his forearm and strike Lawrence in the head while he was sliding, and the NFL's responsibility to enact effective rules to protect the people generating its profits. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYTsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day. Calling out elite people in comedy should be the rule of thumb.
I think Donald Trump's hair is actually another creature.
Yeah.
The hair's like going, good night, Donald. Good night, Donald. There we go.
Maybe it goes out. It goes out and makes money while he's asleep.
There is something about punching down that feels taboo, and punching up is the way to go.
Crack's not really my thing, but if it was, it would be fine if I was on that side.
Wow.
Don Jr.'s on coke.
We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated. I'm a very stable genius.
It is very important, the work that the Jordan Kleppers are doing, the work that the Good Liars are doing, the work that our team here at the Turks are doing, and many more.
Used to see these tackles, now they tackle. Oh, head-on-head collision. Bing, flag. Football's become soft.
You have Trump doing sound effects for tackles. The choice could not be more clear. Let's not beat around the bush about it.